Now, the second big thing is also related to the CBS Sports Classic, and it's related to the second game. I touched on Kentucky and St. John's in the first segment. North Carolina beat Ohio State to improve to 11-1. And I think it reiterates a major storyline that we have from this early season. That's Hubert Davis has answered the bell. And coming into the season, one of the main storylines, especially as it related to the blue blood programs in the sport, was whether or not Hubert Davis was the long-term answer for North Carolina at head coach. And I felt if we were going to be fair, if we were looking at Hubert Davis's tenure as North Carolina's head coach, year one, make an incredible run to the national title game, lose a heartbreaker to Kansas. I know the regular season did not go as many Tar Heels fans had hoped that year. They were in an 8-9 game against Marquette, wound up beating the number 1 seed Baylor, went all the way to the national title game. But people in college basketball always remember what you do in the NCAA tournament. In 2022, all anybody remembered was that North Carolina nearly won the national title. North Carolina the following year was the preseason number 1. Brady Manick left that team. North Carolina got Pete Nance as a grad transfer from Northwestern. Missed the NCAA tournament. Major disappointment. The chemistry was never right with that team. The next year, Hubert Davis leads North Carolina to a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, loses a heartbreaker in the Sweet 16 to Alabama, an Alabama team that went on, had a chance to go to the Final Four and win a national championship. And then last year, Carolina, controversially, made the NCAA tournament, beat San Diego State in the first 4, got to the NCAA tournament, but kind of limped there. I don't think that they should have been in the bracket, but they were. But if you're looking at it from 30,000 feet, in 2 of the 4 years that Hubert Davis was the head coach at North Carolina, he had North Carolina in the mix to win a national championship. Went to the title game, and then the next year was a 1 seed. I'm not ready to say that this North Carolina team is ready to join the company of the teams in 22 and 24, but I am ready to say this. Hubert Davis has answered the bell. And Hubert Davis, at least so far, has answered any questions people had about him being the guy at North Carolina. I know that North Carolina has 18 ACC games left. I understand that. I also know that North Carolina is going to play East Carolina tonight in Chapel Hill. But I went down to North Carolina and spent time in Chapel Hill before the season. I did not expect this. I did not expect North Carolina to lose Seth Trimble, an all-ACC first-team caliber player and the best perimeter player on the Tar Heels defensively, who had a big-time role against Darren Peterson when North Carolina beat Kansas on November 7th. I did not expect North Carolina to have all those things happen with so many new players, the only player back really of significance with Seth Trimble. I did not expect North Carolina to have a chance to go to ACC play at 12-1 and not have Seth Trimble for a month. I did not expect it. Now, Seth Trimble gives North Carolina now, and we saw him against Ohio State in his return game on Saturday, a third all-ACC caliber player, because part of the reason why North Carolina was able to be in a situation where it held serve without Seth Trimble was because the Tar Heels, in my opinion, along with Gonzaga's combination of Ike and Huff, have, in my opinion, a lethal 4-5 combination with Caleb Wilson and Graham Ike. And I firmly believe that North Carolina's combination, Caleb Wilson and Henry Vasar. I firmly believe that North Carolina's combination of Caleb Wilson and Henry Vasar is the best 4-5 combination in the sport. Ike and Huff would be right behind them at Gonzaga. But one of the interesting things is this. When you look at how Hubert Davis built his best teams at North Carolina, in 2022, he obviously inherited a lot from Roy Williams. But then in 2024, he was able to bring back R.J. Davis and Armando Bacot as linchpins for that team. This team has been completely restructured. This team has been completely brought in. from the transfer portal and other areas. Luka Bogovac came from overseas. Derek Dixon was obviously a freshman like Caleb Wilson. But looking at North Carolina's team last season, Elliot Cadeau, RJ Davis, Ian Jackson, a couple of those guys transferred. It was clear, and Hubert Davis has talked about this on this podcast and also in conversations I've had with him in person. He has talked about wanting to get bigger and longer defensively. And North Carolina has brought in, again, a completely new team. The only guy back of significance is Seth Trimble. And North Carolina looks like a team that should, barring something unforeseen, should be 12-1 going into ACC play. The only loss is a neutral site defeat on Thanksgiving Day against Michigan State. And again, Seth Trimble did not play in that game. So I think if you're looking now at a storyline that deserves major attention, it's that Hubert Davis is reiterating, at least for now, that he is going to be the long-term answer at North Carolina. And this is a job, as we know, that has been within the North Carolina family for a very, very long time. After Dean Smith, Bill Guthridge, the longtime assistant, took over for a long time. After Coach Guthridge, obviously, they went to Matt Doherty. And then from Matt Doherty, they went to Roy Williams. From Roy Williams, they went to Hubert Davis. It is a familial type of program. And look, I do college basketball for my vocation. It is the heartbeat of my livelihood. College basketball is better when North Carolina is better. It is not okay for any of these blue blood programs, North Carolina, Duke, UCLA, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisville, to just be okay. And we have now, much more so than we had last year, a formidable North Carolina team with a star in Caleb Wilson and a guy that's pushing to be an All-American alongside him up front in Henry Vasar. And I'll say this. There's a lot of season left, and you don't want to put too much on any individual race because it's a team sport. Cam Boozer has separated himself in the National Player of the Year race, and we're going to get into my midseason All-Americans later in the show. Cam Boozer has separated himself, but I'll say this. If there was one guy that I could see making a push in January and February for that award, it would be if Caleb Wilson put North Carolina on his back and push Duke and push Louisville at the top of the ACC standings. Because I remember being in Chapel Hill in the preseason and a well-embedded mole who I've known for a long time within North Carolina's program. He said, John, Caleb Wilson reminds me of Marvin Williams. Marvin Williams, who was the second pick in the 2005 draft, did not have the type of impact in college that Caleb Wilson is having. Now, again, he played big minutes on that team. That team also had Sean May, Ray Felton, Rashad McCants. But what he's doing now, Wilson, getting 20 and 10, bringing that type of physicality on defense, protecting the front of the rim, he is the guy. If you said if there's one player you could pick that could push Cam Boozer, if North Carolina emerges even more, and I think I have the Tar Heels 11th on my AP ballot this week. If North Carolina becomes a top 5, 6, 7 team, you are going to start hearing Caleb Wilson as a guy who's challenging Cam Boozer in the National Player of the Year race.